I'm Jack Turner, just a regular guy who's been keeping my head down and living my life. No wife, no kids, no big responsibilities tying me down. I've always been the odd one out in my family, but I never thought it'd come to this. Last Thanksgiving at my sister's place was when everything went off the rails, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Fair warning, this might take a while to tell, but I've got to get it out there. Stick with me. It all started when I rolled up to Lisa's house, my sister, around noon, right when she told me to show up. I'd been on the road for a bit, hauling my old pickup truck from my place a couple hours away. I figured it'd be a normal holiday, turkey, football, maybe some awkward small talk. But when I walked through the door, it was like stepping into a movie scene where everyone knows the script except me. The living room was a mess of torn wrapping paper, the kitchen table had half-eaten plates of food, and my niece, Emily, was sprawled out on the couch, scrolling through her new phone like she'd already forgotten I existed. They'd started without me, hours early, by the looks of it. First thing that hit me was how nobody seemed surprised I was late to their party. Lisa came over, gave me a quick hug, but it felt off, like she was holding something back. Her husband, Mike, barely glanced up from the TV, just grunted, "Hey, you're here," like I was some guy delivering pizza. I dropped my jacket on a chair and tried to play it cool, but the vibe was wrong. Emily, though she's a good kid, 13 and sharp as a tack, popped up and ran over, showing off her phone. "Uncle Jack, check this out. Dad got me the new model," she said, all excited. I grinned, ready to ask her about it, but Mike cut in fast. "Don't waste your time, Em." Jack wouldn't get it, too busy roaming around with no real job. His tone had a bite to it, and I felt my stomach twist. "See, I've done all right for myself. I run a small online business fixing up vintage car parts. Buy M cheap, restore M, sell M high. Lets me travel, work from anywhere, keep my own hours." My folks, especially my dad, Bill, always thought it was a solid gig. He passed away back in August, and this was our first Thanksgiving without him. I figured that's why things felt so heavy, but it wasn't just that. The jabs about my life, they'd been coming more often since Dad died. Lisa and Mike never got why I didn't settle down like them, buy a house, pop out a couple kids. Dad got it, though. He'd tell me, "Jack, you do you. That's what matters." Yes, that didn't sit right with everyone else. Things got weird at dinner. Lisa had cooked Dad's famous smoked brisket recipe, first time she'd tried it since he was gone, and we all sat down, quiet at first. Too quiet. Then Mike's mom, Carol, who'd come down from upstate, decided to stir the pot. "So, Jack," she said, cutting into her food, "you got a girl yet? Man your age ought to be thinking about a family." I was about to say something polite, brush it off, when Mike jumped in. "Nah, he's too busy playing nomad. No wife, no kids, no point, right?" He chuckled, but it wasn't funny. Lisa smirked, Carol nodded like it was gospel, and I just sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, feeling the room close in. I kept my cool, said, "I like my life fine. Keeps me busy." But Carol leaned in, not letting it go. "Busy doing what? Tinkering with junk and driving around? That's not a life, Jack. That's just killing time." I wanted to snap back, tell her not to speak for Dad, who'd been proud of me, but I held it in. The table went silent again, Lisa fussing with the mashed potatoes like she hadn't heard a thing. Then Mike dropped the bomb. "We gotta talk about something," he said, setting his beer down hard. "Dad's will get read next month, and we need to figure this out. You've got all that cash stashed away, Jack. No bills, no family, while we're over here busting our tails for Emily. It's not right." I froze. Lisa wouldn't look at me, just stared at her plate. "What are you saying?" I asked, voice low. Carol piped up, all syrupy. "We've had some costs. Emily's dance lessons, the new roof. Bill said he'd help out before he got sick. We figured your share could cover it." My share. Dad's will. They'd already decided I didn't need it. I pushed my chair back, slow, and stood up. "You're saying you took my money?" Without asking. Mike shrugged, like it was nothing. "Borrowed it. And what's it to you? You're just drifting through life, man. We've got real stuff to deal with." Lisa finally spoke, barely audible. "It's for the family, Jack. You've got plenty saved." Everyone nodded, even Emily looked away, uncomfortable. They'd all agreed I was useless, a spare part in their big plan. I didn't yell, didn't flip the table, just smiled, said, "Thanks for the meal, Lisa," and walked out. Mike muttered something about me dodging tough talks, but I didn't care. I got in my truck, drove home, and by the time I hit my couch, my phone was blowing up. Lisa begging me to call back, Mike telling me to grow up, even Carol saying I owed them. I ignored it all. Next day, I rang up Dad's lawyer, Tom Grayson. Left him a message. Something told me this wasn't over, and I was right. Tomorrow, I'd find out just how deep this mess went. I'm Jack Turner, and after that Thanksgiving mess at my sister Lisa's place, I knew I couldn't just let it slide. I'd walked out with my head spinning, their words, no wife, no kids, no point, ringing in my ears like a bad song on repeat. By the next morning, I was done sitting quiet. I needed answers, so I got on the phone with Tom Grayson, my dad's lawyer. He's an old-school guy, wears suspenders and talks like he's got all the time in the world. When I left him that message, I wasn't sure what I'd get back, but I had a feeling Dad left something behind to sort this out. Turns out, I was right, and it was bigger than I ever guessed. Tom called me back around 10, said, "Jack, I've been waiting for you to reach out. Come by the office. We've got stuff to go over. His voice had that tone, like he knew the storm was coming and had an umbrella ready. I grabbed my keys, hopped in my pickup, and drove the 30 miles to his little brick building downtown. The whole way, my phone kept buzzing texts from Lisa saying we needed to talk as a family, Mike telling me I was selfish, even one from Emily that just said, "Sorry about yesterday, Uncle Jack." That last one stung. She's a kid caught in her parents' mess, and I hated that she felt it. When I got to Tom's office, he was already at his desk, a stack of papers in front of him. "Take a seat," he said, sliding a coffee my way. "Your dad, Bill, he had a hunch this might happen." He pulled out a folder, thick as a phone book, and started flipping pages. First thing he showed me was a pile of bank records with my name on them, except I hadn't signed a damn thing. "These are loans," Tom said, tapping the papers. "Pulled from your chunk of the inheritance. Forged signatures, Jack. 7 of 'em, totaling just under 200 grand. My gut dropped like I'd hit a pothole at 60 miles an hour. 200 grand. Gone. And they'd done it behind my back. I stared at those papers, the sloppy loops of my so-called signature looking like a kid's doodle. How'd they even pull this off? I asked, voice tight. Tom leaned back, hands behind his head. "Your sister and Mike got access to the trust your dad set up. Started siphoning it off last year when Bill got sick. They figured you wouldn't notice or care." He slid another document over, a copy of Dad's will, but not the one I'd heard about. "This is the real one," he said. "Bill updated it a month before he passed. After a late-night call from Mike, begging for cash. Your dad smelled a rat. The will was a game-changer. Dad had laid out rules. Any money borrowed from my share had to be paid back before Lisa or Mike saw a dime of theirs. And get this, he put me in charge of making sure it happened." Tom pointed to a line Dad wrote himself. "Jack's got a good head on his shoulders. He'll know what's fair." I sat there, coffee going cold, trying to process it. Then Tom hit me with more. "Mike and Lisa? They're broke, Jack. Deep in the hole. Emily's dance lessons? They haven't paid the studio in 6 months. That new roof? All on credit they can't cover. They've been faking it, leaning on your dad's money to keep up appearances." My phone buzzed again, 18 missed calls now, 10 voicemails. I checked a few while Tom grabbed more files. "Mike, you're screwing us over, man. Emily needs this. Lisa, Jack, please, we messed up, but we're family. Carol, your dad wouldn't want this fight." Then Emily again. "Mom and Dad were yelling about money last night. I don't know what's happening. Poor kid." I set the phone down, looked at Tom. "There's more, isn't there?" He nodded, pulling out a letter. "Bill left this for you. Said to read it when things got ugly." I opened it, and Dad's handwriting hit me like a punch. "Jack, it started. They'll try to guilt you. Call you a loner. Say you owe them. Don't budge. Responsibility ain't about handing over cash. It's about doing right, even when it's hard." I swallowed, kept reading. "Check the shed out back. Top shelf, behind the old toolbox. You'll find what you need." My hand shook a little as I folded it up. Tom watched me, then said, "One last thing. Mike came by here 2 weeks ago. Tried to get me to label you unfit to handle money. Said your wandering lifestyle proved it. I told him to shove it." I left Tom's office with my head buzzing louder than a busted muffler. Another voicemail popped up. Lisa, sounding panicked. "Jack, the dance studio's threatening to kick Emily out if we don't pay by Friday. We need to figure this out." I didn't call back. Instead, I drove straight to Dad's old place. Mom's still there, but she was out that day. The shed was a time capsule, all his fishing gear and tools just like he left them. Up on the top shelf, behind that rusty toolbox, was a lockbox. Combo was my birthday, same as always. Inside, a stack of papers, a flash drive, and another note from Dad. "If you've got this," it read, "they've gone too far. Here's the proof. Every dime Mike took, every lie he told. Use it smart." I took it all back home, spread it out on my kitchen table. The papers showed Mike hadn't just hit my share. He'd been draining Dad's accounts too, way before he died. Hundreds of thousands, funneled into bad deals and flashy crap they couldn't afford. My phone kept going. "Lisa texting now. We're coming by tomorrow. Please be there. We've got to fix this." I looked at Dad's note again. Last line said, "Sometimes standing tall means letting him fall. You're tougher than they know. Tomorrow was going to be a reckoning." I could feel it. Emily's text came last. "Are you coming, Uncle Jack? I don't like how they're acting." That's the one that stuck with me. I'd be there all right. For her, and for Dad. I'm Jack Turner, and after finding that lockbox in Dad's shed, I knew the next day was going to be a doozy. Lisa had texted me they were coming over to Mom's place, our old family home, to fix things, and I wasn't about to back down. I'd spent the night going through Dad's papers and that flash drive, piecing together just how bad Mike and Lisa had screwed things up. By morning, I was running on coffee and a mix of anger and determination. I wasn't out to destroy anybody, but I sure as hell wasn't letting them walk all over me, or Dad's memory, anymore. I pulled up to Mom's house around 9, my pickup kicking up gravel in the driveway. Right away, I saw trouble, 2 extra cars parked out front. Mike's beat-up sedan was there, sure, but so was Aunt Ruth's minivan and some fancy SUV I didn't recognize. Great, they brought a posse. I grabbed the lockbox stuff, tucked it under my arm, and and headed inside. The living room looked like a scene from one of those reality shows where everybody's about to start yelling. Mike was pacing by the fireplace. Lisa was perched on the couch looking like she'd rehearsed a speech, and Aunt Ruth sat in the corner sipping tea like she was just there to watch the fireworks. The SUV guy? Some slick-looking dude in a suit, flipping through a briefcase. Mom was in the kitchen doorway, wringing her hands, her eyes already red. Mike didn't waste time. Good, you showed up, he said, crossing his arms. Now we can sort out this mess you're causing. I almost laughed me causing it. I didn't say a word, just took Dad's old recliner by the window and sat down. That chair's been there since I was a kid, and something about it made me feel steady. Mike hates when I don't bite back right away. It throws him off, so I let the silence hang. Sure enough, he started up again. We've been talking, he said, waving at the room. And you're missing the big picture. Dad's will's tearing us apart. We've got a plan to make it right. Suit guy pulled out a stack of papers and slid him across the coffee table. We propose restructuring the inheritance, he said, all businesslike. Lisa and Mike get their shares now, plus temporary oversight of yours to manage family expenses. You'd get a repayment schedule for the loans, starting in, say, for years. I let him finish, scanning the room. Lisa nodded like it was the most reasonable thing ever. Aunt Ruth sipped her tea louder, and Mom just stared at the floor. Then I pulled out Dad's ledger, the one from the lockbox, and flipped it open. Before we get into that, I said, keeping my voice even, let's talk about the lake cabin. You could have heard a pin drop. Aunt Ruth's cup froze halfway to her mouth. The lake cabin's this little place Dad owned outright. 2 bedrooms, decent fishing spot, nothing fancy but steady rental cash. Supposed to go to Mom in the will. Mike's face went tight. That's got nothing to do with this, he said, too fast. I tapped the ledger. Funny, 'cause this says you took out a loan against it last spring. Used Mom's name while Dad was laid up. You tell her about that. Mom's hands dropped, and she stepped forward. What's he talking about, Mike? Lisa jumped in, voice all smooth. It was temporary. We had a business idea, a sure thing. It's fine now. Fine. I turned to Suit Guy. That why the bank's about to take it back? 'Cause you missed 6 payments? Mom gasped, loud and sharp, and started tearing up. The cabin? That was our first place, me and Bill's getaway. Mike glared at me like I'd just kicked his dog. You got no business digging into our stuff, Jack. Our stuff, I said, pulling out more papers. Like the 2 store cards you opened in Mom's name? Or the cash you pulled from Emily's dance fund? The room went dead quiet again. Suit Guy started packing up his briefcase, looking like he wanted out. Lisa stood up, pointing at me. You think you're so high and mighty, huh? At least we're trying to make something build a life. What VE you got? A truck and some old car parts? You're nothing. I didn't flinch. I've got no debt, I said, calm as I could. And I've got Dad's trust. That's more than you can say. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs. Emily peeked around the corner. She must have been listening from upstairs. Is it true about my dance money? She asked, voice small. Lisa spun around. Honey, go back up, but Emily cut her off. I recorded it all, Mom. From when Uncle Jack got here. He's not lying, is he? The air sucked out of the room. Mike started yelling, Lisa started crying, Mom sank into a chair sobbing about the cabin. Aunt Ruth and Suit Guy bolted for the door like rats off a sinking ship. Emily came down and stood by me, quiet but firm, like she'd picked her side. Things settled enough for me to pull out Dad's real will, the one with the rules. Here's the deal, I said, passing out copies. The cabin goes into a trust today to save it. Mom's store cards get cut off. Emily's dance fund, what's left of it, gets locked in an account she controls at 16. And you too. I looked at Mike and Lisa. You start financial classes next month, or I take the stack of forged papers to the cops. Mike's jaw clenched. Or what? He spat. I held up the ledger. Or this goes public. Mom spoke up, voice shaky. Can we save the cabin? I nodded. Yeah, Dad left enough to cover it. If they sign off. Emily stepped closer. Just sign it, Dad. I don't want to lose everything 'cause of you. Mike's face went white, his own kid, holding that recording over him. Lisa signed first, hands trembling. Mike followed, muttering curses under his breath. As I headed out, my phone lit up, Mike threatening me, Lisa begging, Emily asking if she could crash at my place for a bit. Tomorrow, I'd meet Tom to lock it all down. But something told me this was just the start. I'm Jack Turner, and after that showdown at Mom's house, I figured things couldn't get much crazier. Boy, was I wrong. The next morning, I was up early, sipping coffee and staring at the stack of papers from Dad's lockbox. My phone was still blowing up. Mike's threats, Lisa's apologies, Emily's quiet plea to stay with me for a while. I wasn't sure what to expect when I met Tom Grayson, Dad's lawyer, to finalize everything, but I knew one thing. I wasn't backing off. Dad had trusted me to handle this, and I wasn't about to let him down. I got to Tom's office by 10, the lockbox stuff tucked under my arm. He was waiting, that same calm look on his face, like he'd seen this kind of family mess 100 times. Morning, Jack, he said, pouring me a coffee. You ready for the next round? I nodded, setting the papers down. Let's get this locked in before Mike tries something stupid. Tom grinned, pulling out his own files. Already ahead of you. After you called last night, I put a freeze on all your mom's accounts. cabin included. Mike tried to pull some cash out at midnight. Bank flagged it, locked him out. I sat back, letting that sink in. Midnight. The guy had no shame. Tom spread out the will and the trust papers. Here's where we're at, he said. The lake cabin's safe. Trust is active. Payments are covered from your dad's estate. Mom's store cards are canceled, and Emily's dance fund is secured in her name, untouchable till she's 16. Mike and Lisa's financial classes are set, court-ordered now, thanks to those forgeries you handed over. He tapped a new document. Cops took a look at the signatures. Not pressing charges yet, but it's hanging over their heads. Keeps M in line. I exhaled, feeling a weight lift, but it wasn't over. What about the rest of it? I asked. They're not going to just roll over. Tom slid me a flash drive, copy of the one Dad left. Bill recorded everything, he said. Years of talks with Mike, loan begs, excuses, even a fight where Mike tried to strong-arm him into signing stuff when he was half out of it from chemo. It's all here. If they push, this goes to the DA. I took the drive, my hands steady but my mind racing. Dad had known. He'd seen this coming and built me a shield. As we wrapped up, my phone buzzed again. Lisa this time, voice shaky in a voicemail. Jack, Mike's losing it. He's talking about selling the house to pay stuff off. Please, come talk to him. I didn't call back. Not yet. Instead, I drove to my place, popped that flash drive into my laptop, and listened. Hours of audio, Dad's voice rough but firm, laying out every time Mike crossed a line. The last one was a gut punch. Dad in his hospital bed, Mike whining about bills, Dad saying, Jack'll fix it. He's got the guts I never did. I shut it off, eyes stinging. Guts, huh? Guess I'd find out. By afternoon, Emily texted, Dad's at the house yelling at Grandma. Can I come over? I told her yes, grabbed my keys, and headed to Mom's to pick her up. When I got there, Mike was in the driveway, red-faced, screaming at Mom about the frozen accounts. You're letting Jack ruin us, he shouted. Mom just stood there, arms crossed, tears streaming. Emily ran out, climbed into my truck without a word. I looked at Mike. You're done digging, man. Walk away. He lunged like he'd swing, but stopped when he saw Emily watching. I drove off, her staring out the window, quiet. Back home, I set Emily up in my spare room. Old camping cot, but she didn't care. Thanks, Uncle Jack, she said, hugging me quick. They're lying to everyone, aren't they? I nodded. Yeah, kid. But we've got the truth now. That night, Tom called. Mike tried to hire a lawyer, some cheapo downtown. Guy bailed when he heard the recordings. I smiled for the first time in days. The walls were closing in on them, and I hadn't even fired the big guns yet. I'm Jack Turner, and the days after that meeting with Tom felt like watching a slow-motion train wreck. Mike and Lisa were scrambling, but every move they made just dug him deeper. I had Emily at my place, safe from the chaos, and Mom was holding her own, tougher than I'd given her credit for. I wasn't out for blood, but I wasn't going to let them twist Dad's legacy into their personal ATM either. What happened next? Well, it was like Dad reached out from beyond and pulled the plug on their whole game. Mike's big mistake came 2 days later. I got a call from Tom, early, his voice tight. Jack, you need to hear this. Mike tried to drain the cabin's rental account, bypassed the trust by calling the bank direct. Thought he could play dumb. I sat up, coffee sloshing. What happened? Tom chuckled, dark. Bank had the freeze I set up. Flagged it as fraud, called the cops. He's at the station now, sweating it out. I couldn't believe it. Guy was dumb enough to try that after everything? Lisa's with him, Tom added. Tried to spin it as a mix-up. Nobody's buying it. I hung up, checked on Emily, still asleep, then fired up my laptop. That flash drive from Dad. I hadn't listened to it all yet. I clicked through, found a file dated 6 months back. Dad's voice, tired but sharp. Mike, you're borrowing against the cabin? That's your mom's security. Mike, all smooth. Just a short-term thing, Dad. I'll fix it. That again, you better. Jack'll know if you don't. I saved it, sent it to Tom. Half an hour later, he texted, gold mine. Cops have it now. By noon, Mike was facing a fraud charge, small, but enough to scare him straight. Or so I thought. Lisa called that afternoon, crying so hard I could barely understand her. Jack, they're taking the car. The house payment's late. Emily's dance studio's suing us. Help us, please. I stayed quiet, let her ramble. You've got the money, Jack. Dad would have wanted you to fix this. That's when I snapped. Dad wanted you to stop stealing, I said cold. You made this bed. Lie in it. She hung up, sobbing. I felt bad, for about 10 seconds. Then Emily wandered in, rubbing her eyes. Was that Mom? I nodded. They're in trouble, huh? She said. Yeah, I told her. But you're okay here. She smiled, faint but real. Next day, Mom called. Jack, Mike showed up last night, begging me to sign stuff. Said it was my fault for trusting him. Her voice cracked. I told him to leave. First time I ever stood up to him. I grinned, proud as hell. Good for you, Mom. She paused. Can you come by? I found something in Dad's desk. I grabbed Emily, drove over. Mom met us at the door, handed me an envelope, Dad's writing. Jack, it read. If they've pushed this far, use the account. Numbers in my tackle box. For Emily and your mom, not them. I checked the tackle box. Sure enough, a bank slip. 50 grand, hidden away. I looked at Mom. He knew, she said soft. Always did. By night, word spread. Mike's job, he's a parts manager at a dealership, suspended him after the fraud hit the news. Lisa's book club kicked her out when they found out she'd borrowed dues for months. Emily stayed with me, said, I don't want to go back yet. I told her she didn't have to. The noose was tightening, and I hadn't even played my full hand. I'm Jack Turner, and by now, Mike and Lisa's world was falling apart faster than a cheap carburetor. Emily was settled in at my place. Mom was finding her backbone, and I had Dad's secret account ready to protect what mattered. I thought maybe they'd give up, take the financial classes, start over. But Mike? He's got a stubborn streak wider than a highway, and it was about to cost him everything. What went down next was the kind of twist even Dad couldn't have predicted, but he'd left me the tools to finish it. It started with a text from Aunt Ruth, of Soyuran. Hadn't heard from her since she bolted from Mom's house. Jack, call me. Mike's planning something. I rang her up, wary. He's been at my place, she said, voice low. Says he's got a guy who can fix the will. Wants me to back him up. Say you pressured Mom into the trust. I laughed, couldn't help it. He's delusional. Ruth sighed. He's desperate. Watch your back. I thanked her, hung up, and called Tom. Mike said it again, I said. Tom grunted. Figured. I'll check with the court. Sure enough, that afternoon, Mike filed a motion, claimed I'd coerced Mom into signing the trust papers, said I was unfit to manage anything cause of my unstable lifestyle. Attached a letter from some shady notary saying he'd seen me bully her. I drove to Tom's, showed him Ruth's text. He smirked. This notary? Busted for fraud last year. Motion's dead on arrival. But Mike didn't stop there. Next morning, Emily came running in, phone in hand. Uncle Jack, look. She'd found a group chat. Lisa texting friends, saying I'd stolen the inheritance, begging for loans. One replied, knew they were shady. Mike pitched me a scam last year. The mask was slipping. Then the hammer dropped. Tom called. Jack, Mike tried to sell the cabin, forged a deed. Buyer called the bank to verify, got shut down. Cops picked him up an hour ago. I sat there, stunned. Selling Dad's cabin? That was low, even for him. Lisa's spinning it, Tom said. Told the neighbors you framed him. Nobody's biting. I checked the flash drive again. Found a clip, Mike bragging to Dad about a real estate flip that'd solve everything. Dated right before the forgery. I sent it to Tom, who forwarded it to the DA. By night, Mike was facing felony charges, forgery, theft, the works. Lisa showed up at my door that evening, eyes puffy. No fight left. Jack, they're taking the house. Emily's all I've got. Don't take her too. I stepped outside, kept it firm. She's here 'cause she wants to be. You fix your mess, maybe she'll come back. She nodded, defeated, and left. Emily watched from the window, said, I don't hate them. Just don't trust them. I hugged her. You don't have to, kid. Mom called later, voice steady. Jack, I'm done with their lies. Sold some old jewelry, paid off the cabin's back taxes myself. It's ours now. I smiled. Dad'd be proud. She laughed, first time in weeks. He'd say you're the stubborn one he could count on. I'm Jack Turner, and 2 months after that chaos kicked off, things finally settled. Well, as settled as they're gonna get. Mike and Lisa's house of lies didn't just collapse, it got torched by their own hands. I didn't set out to ruin anybody, but Dad's plan, and a little grit, made sure the truth came out. Here's how it all shook out, and where we're at now. Mike's felony charges stuck. He plea bargained down to 3 years probation, community service, and a fat fine he can't pay. His job's gone, dealership fired him when the news hit. Lisa's scrambling, working part-time at a diner, their house foreclosed. They're in a cramped apartment now. No car, no friends left. Emily's with me full-time, court gave me temporary custody after Mike's arrest. She's thriving, signed up for dance again with Dad's secret account covering it. She's got her mom's smile but her grandpa's spine. Mom's a rock now. She took the cabin off the market, rinsed it out legit, keeps the cash for herself and Emily's future. She sold Dad's old truck too, bought herself a little hatchback and started a garden club. Bill always said I'd find my way, she told me over Sunday dinner last week. Those dinners are small now, just us 3, sometimes Aunt Ruth. No more drama, no more guilt trips. I used some of my inheritance to buy a bigger place, 2 bedrooms, garage for my car parts gig. Business is steady, and I'm teaching Emily the trade. She's got a knack for it. Says she wants to build stuff, not break it like Dad did. We framed Dad's letter, the one from his desk, in her room. You're the stubborn one I could count on, it says. She reads it every night. Mike tried one last call, voice hoarse. Jack, you happy now? Took everything. I kept it short. You took it first. I just stopped the bleeding. He hung up. Lisa texts sometimes, asking about Emily. I let the kid decide she's not ready yet. Maybe someday. The real win? Emily's laugh echoing in my house, Mom's garden blooming, and the cabin standing tall by the lake. Dad's legacy isn't cash or land. It's us, holding steady. I'm not done watching Mike and Lisa. They'll owe restitution for years, tracked by the courts. But me? I've got my road, my family, and a clear conscience. That's more than they'll ever steal again.